Okay, I think we might be live. Not 100% sure about that. We're going to have to wait and see if people can see us and can hear us. And I will explain why this is such a concern as soon as I get a confirmation. Please, somebody let us know if everything's okay. You know, Bob, I want to get this fixed where I don't have to worry about this. I know when I push the buttons, everything's good. Okay. Let's see. She's great. Somebody says she's great. I don't know if that's us. I've got us on my iPad here. Audio and video are good. Okay. Thank you, Candy. So all right, before I get into any of that, I've got this stranger on the line with me here now via Skype. I'm not quite sure who this guy is. I thought I was talking earlier with Bob Steenfott from out there in Seattle. I thought he was going to be on here with me, but apparently I got this weirdo. So I don't know. Introduce yourself and let's talk, I guess, for a little bit.
Hey, this is Big Steen, man. We're here to talk fish. Big Steen's in the house.
You know daggone well that we barely talk about fish when when you come on my live stream or when I go on yours. We always talk about everything else. I could sit here and talk with you about how I was almost brought to tears watching the Alice in Chains Unplugged from MTV from 2000 and whenever it was. I don't know.
I can't see anything.
The glasses looked so much better, Casey Neistat style. So, okay, listen, folks, today was an interesting day. We had to do some recording today, Lisa and I. And we had to do it because last week we recorded, Lisa and I record our videos in batches. I don't know if you do this, Bob, but we record several videos in one sitting. This way we only have to set everything up one time. And we did that last week. And we both recorded our parts for 4 videos and everything was great and it was wonderful. Well, Lisa got some new glasses and the glasses are just a little bit bigger. She was wearing them in last week's stream, a little bit bigger than her old ones. She wore them in the video and I got all these new lights set up and everything. And I did not realize until I was in post that the lights were basically directly on her glasses and you couldn't even see her eyes at all. It was terrible. And it's not her fault. It was my fault for not catching that. And so she recorded all of her parts over again today. So it was not a pretty day in my house. And she did a great job though. She actually did better this week than she did last week. So it was a very productive day. But then afterwards she was like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be able to stream tonight. And I'm like, oh, great. Here we go. Within 5 minutes, she's like, I already talked to Bob. He said he'll do it. So
Big
now
Steen.
Here we are. So, and then, of course, when Bob and I get connected through Skype, there is no sound. And we didn't quite get a chance to figure out if it was on my end or his end. I think it was on my end. And that's why I was panicking so much. When we started to work, we started this out to make sure that we were in fact live. So I guess we are, and I guess everything's okay. So we can proceed here. I don't even know what we're going to talk about here tonight, Bob. It's going to be,
I don't either. I'm just glad that we're finally losing subscribers on your channel, not mine for once.
Yeah. Last time, no, not last time, a couple of times ago, it was 30 subscribers. I've never let you forget that. That's always been something I've held over your head. And, you know, we'll see what happens this time. But
oh, it's already starting downhill. Normally you get about what, 400 or 500. You're not even at 200.
Oh yeah, that's pathetic. I might just go ahead and just go to bed.
Just disconnect me.
Get this weirdo off of here. He's bringing nothing but just madness to this. No, I'm happy to have you because we always have a good time when you're on. And I don't care how many people are watching. The ones that are here, we'll have some fun with. We'll have a good time. Lisa and I did have a topic that we were going to talk about today. And she brings up a point here. I'm looking at the chat. She wanted me to talk or ask you about your new fish that you got today.
What new fish?
Apparently, it had something to do with I don't know, some kind of crown tail or
You
something.
mean you mean the fish that's for my members only section and they're getting like first peak right now and now you're giving it all away?
What are you talking about?
Those
I don't know what you're talking about. No,
those
that's
fish?
is that really?
Yes, I bought a Betta fish today, especially after ranting on Monday about how Bettas are the flavor of the month. But it doesn't change anything. It's still true.
But right now, they're really not. When have they ever not been a really popular fish on YouTube? I mean, everybody's always talking about beta. I say beta, whatever. Uh, that's never not been a thing. I mean, everybody's always talked about betas.
That's true. That's true. But there's a difference when not everyone's always talked about bettas or betas, whatever. I don't care. It comes and goes, like anything. Like anything.
Well, we talked last week about the most popular fish in the hobby, and we both said, and I think pretty much everybody in the chat agreed. I don't know if you were there. I don't remember. We agreed betas are the most popular fish in the hobby. And so when you have the most popular fish in the hobby, it's probably going to get the most traction on YouTube, and everybody's going to do videos about them. In fact, I think my video on Sunday that's coming out is a beta video. So thank you for that, Bob.
Yeah, you had like 4 in a row. That's the only reason I say anything. You did like 4 Betta videos in a row.
I did no such thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, 5.
How dare you? No. We did multiple.
No, they're awesome fish. I mean, I can't deny it. I'm up to 3 of them now. Granted, I'm selling them, but still.
Well, and you have to understand, I'm with a woman that is more than obsessed about these fish. You don't even know. I mean, Corey knows because he's been here and he's seen it. He's seen the madness that is my house with these betas everywhere. But when you have her, she's 50% of this deal, and she's obsessed with betas. Guess what? We're going to make videos on. We're going to make videos on betas. But no, how dare you say we did 4 in a row? We didn't do 4 in a row. We did do several beta videos, but they were not in a row. So, no.
I'm verifying
silence.
right now. Let's see. I'm looking right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, wait. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm sorry. Just 3.
It is not. There.
3.
No, we did not
3.
No. Now, you know what? I bet you're seeing. I'm going to look right now too, because I know you're lying. What you're probably seeing is I probably used betas in a thumbnail for live streams. Probably.
You did.
Maybe.
You did. And that counts.
See, I'm not seeing it. I'm going back. Okay.
I'm not denying that they're awesome fish. Like I said, I own them.
Well, anyway, we did do a lot of beta videos, and we're going to do a lot more because they're a huge part of our channel. You know, when I started my channel for 5 years, all I did was African cichlid videos. I don't think you were complaining then that all I did was African cichlid videos. Now
you are the African cichlid guy.
I was. Whether I am now, I don't know. But
so anyways, this fish I got is an awesome black crown tail. However, an eighth of its fins at the end are white, and it looks awesome.
Oh, that sounds fun. And that's not a fish that's your personal pet. You're going to sell that one?
I'm going to price it insanely high so that it never sells and I can keep it forever.
Somebody in the chat, I want you to listen to what he just said, and I want to make sure that when it does go for sale, no matter what the cost is, buy it just to prove him wrong. That'd be nice. It would work out well for you too, but wow.
I do got to address John's comment. How come Bob's green screen is up? It's either because I don't want to take it. It's permanent. Well, it's not permanent, but it's a pain to take it up and down. So it just stays up. And Skype has no green screen software. So there you go.
Yeah.
If it wasn't this, you'd be looking at a wall, like off-white wall. So.
Well, and see, I just assumed that you did this because I always complain that I can't see you when I'm on a stream with you. So I'm just assuming put anything up that you could so that I could see you today. Or maybe you just did it this way so that I could see the beautiful purple shirt and the blonde hair, which is just gorgeous. It's flowing today.
Normally it's under my hat, so feeling a little lazy today.
So let me tell you what I did. I made a beautiful thumbnail, and I'll share it with you, Bob. Actually, I might have deleted it, but I made a beautiful thumbnail that was Bob and I, that was supposed to be for this live stream, and it was going to be, it was 2 pictures of Chris Hemsworth. One of them was of him as Fit Thor, and the other was him as Fat Thor. If you haven't seen Endgame, spoiler alert, he's fat in that movie. And I put my head on the fat one, of course, and I put your head on the fit Hemsworth that's nice and oily and tan. And I put your head with the hat on, of course, and it was beautiful. But the problem was it was shirtless, both of them. And Lisa comes down and sees that, and she's like, "Oh no."
Did she get all hot and bothered?
No, she was like, "No,
Yeah, oh yeah,
you're not putting that out with you on that big fat body. No way." And I'm like, "But that pretty much looks like what I would look like if I took my shirt off." She's like, "Nope, not doing it." So I did the Hobbs and Shaw thing, and it looks nothing, well, other than the fact it's my head on Statham and yours on The Rock. It really doesn't look like the movie poster, but I did it in like 5 minutes. I was trying to put that together to have some fun. I don't know. I think the other
whole
one
point of
would be
this
more
is to
fun.
have fun.
Exactly. I think the other one would have been
Well, I
more
made
fun.
myself look like an idiot just so people would laugh. That's what it's all about.
There you go. That's perfect. And that's why I like having you on here, even if we don't get huge crowds tonight. Let's face it, it's Lisa that brings in the crowd. It's not me or you. She's in the chat, so maybe we could put it out there, let people know that she's in the chat. Maybe they'll show up just for that. But if we don't have people here watching, that just means the ones that are here get a little bit more extra attention. Let me go through this here real quick, Bob. I'm sorry to be rude. Tyler, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to botch that last name, became a member tonight. Very excited to have you on the team. Fish Tank Barn with some poop ice cream and the $5 super chat. He's getting creative. He's combining it all together now. Thank you, Mike, for that. Eric Furlow, another pooper. You're bringing him over here with you, Bob. Did you put out a post?
That's what I do.
Did you put out a post that said, "Hey, everybody, bring your poops over to KG Tropicals"? Okay, I'm on the bottom here. YouTube is a beautiful thing. I can't get rid of this stupid thing.
People say they leave places of their heart everywhere they go in this world. Well, I leave poop.
Poop emoji. Lisa says that my dog looks like a poop emoji, and it hurts my feelings every time she says it. Lefty3213A with the $2. I want a room of wall-to-wall beta tanks. Yeah. That's pretty much what Lisa has right now. It's not wall-to-wall, but it's close to it. And come on over. You can do some water changes in those tanks, and you can act like they're yours. That's no problem. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. And Tyler again said, not only am I going to become a member, I'm also going to give you some money. Here's $2. And I love your videos. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Tyler. That's awesome of you. Master Photographer became a member. Do I sound like I'm a radio host? Good grief. Welcome to the team. Michael.
You do actually sound like you'd make a good radio host. I'm just saying.
You have no idea how much that makes me feel. It just makes me feel so good. I mean, you probably didn't see it, because why would you? I talked about a long time ago. I was in the garage, and I talked about how it was kind of always my fantasy to be a radio host. So, that really hits me in my feels when you say that. Anyway, Michael, I'm not going to do the last name because I don't want to mess it up. $5. Hi, guys. I got a new 29-gallon tank with a well-established Fluval 207 canister and a 100-watt Jaeger, whatever you want to call it, heater with an LED light and fish suggestions. Okay, I'm not going to allow Bob to participate in that because he's going to say rainbow fish. We all know that, right? Am I wrong, Bob?
That's it.
Okay. I'm going to say angels. And guess what? Angels and rainbows go together. So look at that. There you go. That's perfect. Uh, 29 is one of, until you go up to the 55, in my opinion, you can give me your opinion, Bob. I think the 29 is one of the most versatile sizes. It just, there's so many things you can do with it. Yeah, you're not going to breed Oscars in it. You're not going to keep arowanas in it. But there's so many different kinds of fish, pretty much across the board, every kind of community fish out there you can put in those. Perfect for that. You can put quite a few of them in there too. And you can fit things as big as angels and some rainbows in there. So I don't know. I've always loved the 29. I love it so much. I don't own a single one right now, but I love that size tank just because of the versatility of them. Thank you for
I just
commenting.
anyway, sorry, I just pulled myself up on your screen and my contrast is insanely high.
Yeah, you're a bit overexposed,
Dang.
but we could take that in a lot of weird directions. Um, Jamie McDonald says, "Good evening, everyone. Thank you." He wanted so badly to wish everybody a happy evening that he paid us $5 to do it. And Mona's Happy Fish Fry has become a member. 3 members tonight. Woo, Bob, you're bringing them in. You're bringing them in here tonight for me. Thank you for that.
That's what I do.
So we've gotten to the bottom of that. Anyone else that comes through with super chats, I will certainly be sure to shout you out for that. But for now, since we're caught up on that, one of the things that Lisa and I were going to talk about today, Bob, I'm trying to get to this here real quick. She put out a post yesterday. She's been doing this every week, and she's doing a great job with it. It's a lot of fun, and it's a huge load off of me. She put out a post yesterday that, well, it reads like this. It's interesting that some people get into the hobby at a young age and some when they're older. Just curious what the average fish keeper's age is. How old were you when you first, it cuts it off. When you first started keeping fish? Believe it or not, 9,700 people voted in this, Bob. I don't know if you saw it. 9,700 people and 202 comments on this. I wanted to kind of go through some of those comments, but what Lisa did was she put the ages that you could choose, teenager or younger, and this would be not how old are you now, but this would be, is it? No, the average fish keeper age. So yeah, it's actually, it's not. The way I understood it was when you started fish keeping, but that's not it at all. She's trying to gauge how old the people are that are in this community and that are keeping fish. So the options were teenager or younger, 20 to 29. I'm 30s or 40s. I'm in my 30s or 40s, 50s, maybe 60s. And then the last option was back when I got my first fish, gas was only 18 cents, receiving 1% of the vote, which means, what is that? 97 people, right? Is that, would that be 97 people?
It's close enough.
Yeah.
Without the decimals.
So if you think about it, Bob, if you think about the entire fish keeping community on YouTube right now, what would you think? Teenagers, 20s, 30s, well, 30s and 40s, 50s, what would you think would be the biggest number out of all of those?
I mean, I would just have to guess my demographic, which is like 30-ish.
Not for much longer, but I know how old you are. You know, when it
No, I mean, that's my demographics when I look at the analytics on YouTube. Like,
oh, I see what you mean.
yeah.
That's exactly what I would have thought too. But apparently those people don't participate in the community section of YouTube pages or YouTube channels, because the overwhelming vote, 66% of the vote, was teenager or younger. Now, I would have thought that 30s and 40s would be the highest, because like you, that's the highest in my analytics. 20s would be second, and then teenager or younger would be third. But nope, it's the exact opposite. Teenagers got 66% of the vote. 20s was 23%, and 30s and 40s was 9%. 50s, 1%. 50s and 60s, 1%. That's surprising to me, but it's probably because people in their 50s and 60s aren't messing around on their phones. They're being productive or enjoying their retirement or whatever it is that they're doing. So, but that was surprising to me. I don't think it should be, though, because I think teenagers are the ones that are participating the most online across the board, period. So probably shouldn't. But 66% out of 9,700 votes was teenager or younger. It's crazy. Whoa, where'd you go? Yeah, you just went to the other extreme there.
What happened?
Your screen just turned really super dark.
It still looks normal on my end.
Come on, you're messing with me now.
Oh, there it goes. Okay.
This is really bothering me because I can't see how many people are watching. 280. Yeah, that's a real shame, Bob. I'm going to have to reconsider next time you want to come on here. Next time you
Hey, let's get things right. You asked me to come on.
next time you hit me up begging me to come onto my stream. So anyway, the first thing that I want to say as Bob turns the lights back on, hopefully, I want to thank the 9,700 people that listen. I've been one of those people that I've posted a lot in the community page, and maybe I was just always doing the wrong thing. I don't know, but I never really seemed to get any kind of a response. I would have other YouTubers that would message me and say, "Hey, would you mind sharing my video in your community page?" And I would tell them, "I'll do it, but it ain't going to do nothing because my community page, for whatever reason, it doesn't really get any traction." So when she put this up and there's 9,700 people that voted on it, that just absolutely blew my mind. I think the last poll that I remember putting up myself, and I remember being blown away by the volume of votes that were in it, I think it was like 1,400. So Lisa's doing something right. She's checking the right boxes.
I remember seeing the poll and being like, holy crap, there's like 6,000 people.
I know. I mean, I never, and I think there was like 4,800 people on the first day. And within like hours, it just like exploded. It like became this viral thing, which is just bananas. It's not viral, but you know what I mean. Apparently she's checking the boxes that I did not check because, yeah. Anyway.
Well, I used to do polls on my community tab, and I always got, like 300 to 500, which is way more than if I actually post something. I might get like 5 likes.
Yeah, polls do seem to do better. I have noticed that. Like if you want to ask a question, it's going to do okay. But if you ask it in like poll form, for whatever reason, people seem to engage with those a lot more often. So, you live and learn.
Probably just a lot easier to click on a button real quick.
Very true. One of the things that, I've known you online for quite some time now. What was it, like 2014, 15, 16? Who knows? But it's been a while. And I don't know that I know your story of how you got into fish. So we're desperate for something to talk about tonight. Why don't we talk about that?
Well, I've always been an animal person. As a teenager, I was into reptiles and then got into fish and reptiles. Then once I graduated high school and left the nest, I didn't have any animals for a long, long time. And then besides my dog, and then went hiking and found a bunch of stickleback minnows that were drying up in a little pool. And so I scooped them up, brought them home. I had a 10-gallon tank just laying around. I don't even know why. And I put it in there, went and bought like filters and everything, and just kept those minnows for a while. And that got me right back into the hobby. And that was, I don't even know how long ago. Wow. 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Huh. Let me
But as far
see.
as like what got me into animals in the first place, I don't know. I guess I've just always been drawn to them, like reptiles and fish and paludariums, terrariums. I've been doing them all for a long time with a break in the middle.
I mean, I've had breaks in my fish keeping career as well, but as far as animals, no. I mean, I've never been without animals, and I've always attributed my obsession with animals to my childhood. My father was not an outdoorsman. He never hunted. We went fishing a few times, but it wasn't like. Here's the deal. My dad passed away in '97, but he was allergic to everything. He was one of those people that, like, every animal in the world he was allergic to. So there wasn't like when I was a little kid, you didn't go to the petting zoo, you didn't do those things because my dad couldn't go there. And so I think that the only animals we could have with when I was a kid growing up was hypoallergenic. Do-
Like the cats with no hair that look like
well, no,
rodents.
we didn't do that. Basically, any animal that shed, we could not have. So the only, I mean, we could have done reptile. I had turtles as a kid. I did have a couple of fish tanks, but I was never really into it until I was a late teen. But um, we had poodles. You're going to probably make fun of me for that, but that's what I grew up with was poodles because they don't shed. So my dad wasn't allergic to them, and that was literally the only animal we ever had was a poodle. And so when I looked out and saw all of these other animals out there, I was just drawn to them because I couldn't have them. You know how that is when you can't have something, it makes you want it even more. So that I think is what led to my obsession with all things animals. From you have no idea how much Lisa and I obsess over the wild rabbits that are running through our neighborhood all over the place right now. They seem to be like this is the year of the rabbit in King George County because they are everywhere. We've got like 5 or 6 of them that live in our yard, and you go driving through the neighborhood and you see rabbits more than you see squirrels, which is weird. But I think that's why I have the obsession that I do with animals and the love that I do for animals was because I couldn't have them as a kid. And I
When
don't
I
know
was a
what.
kid, yeah, when I was a kid, I had the wall, the cinder block wall of reptile tanks, 10-gallon tanks, 20-gallon tanks. I stole all the cinder blocks I could find out of the garage and built my own rack. And then it was all reptiles, and I didn't even have any idea that my uncle was like huge into fish, but he had a 55-gallon tank that cracked and was like, "Here, you can have this for your reptile." So when I went to pick it up, I saw all of his fish tanks, and that's kind of what got me into fish.
Nice. I'm not going to tell my fish story because I've told it so many times. You've probably been on multiple streams with me while I've told that story, but I didn't remember hearing your story. I do remember you talking about finding the fish in the mud. I didn't realize that's the thing that got you into them, though. That's pretty cool.
That's what got me back into the hobby. And what's funny is that Jimmy and I were filming an entire video of that whole scenario. Like we were up into the mountains. We were filming the video on what got me back in the hobby, and the whole time when we got back, we realized that we never turned my mic on. So the whole video
Oh,
was just wasted.
I uh, I had that happen recently. Lisa did a video. I was at work. She took it upon herself, set up the tripod and set up the camera and did all of that, and it was the exact same thing. It's this beautiful video of talking head footage of her with no sound. It's so sad. It's still in my software too. I haven't had the heart to delete it, but whoa, I went out of focus there. Um, yeah, that's always frustrating. You know why I did that, don't you? Come on.
Like,
Uh,
you give me a high five.
yeah, well, yeah, that's what I was doing. So anyway, yeah, that was pretty sad when that happened with her because she did a good job too. I could tell whatever she was talking about, she really meant it, but I just don't have any idea what it was that she said. So, all right, let me check these here real quick. Oh, yep, of course, this has happened. Eric Furlow came through with the $5. Hey, Bob and John, have either of y'all kept Waru cichlids? I have a pair, and they are quickly becoming one of my favorites. Uh, for me, that answer is no. I have always admired them. I've seen them in some local fish stores around us, and I like them a lot, but it is not a fish that I have kept. How about you, Mr. Steenfott?
No, I've never kept them. I have seen them. I don't know, was it like 3, 4 years ago? Corey had some in his fish room. They were just babies, though. That's the only time I've ever seen them in person. But I've never kept them.
I've actually got footage that I use as B-roll footage of Waru at my favorite fish store, which, you know, if you do what you were saying you were going to do and you come here a couple days early for that event in October, I will take you to this store. And they had them 6, 7 inches in there. I think they were like $30 a piece or something. They were gorgeous. It's one of those kind of perfect shots that I got of that fish, and I use it as B-roll a lot in my 10 things videos. But yeah, that's a fish that I like, but I, you know, we can't have them all. One of the things I do want to say, and I meant to say this again, this was part of my plan to talk about this in the opening of tonight's live stream. Lisa and I have set a date to move all of our tanks down here. And I'm super excited about it. I've been so scared for what's it been, like 6 months now. I've been terrified of moving that 360 down here, but I'm not terrified anymore. You want to know why? Because I have a very kind of, I don't want to say strict, like detailed plan of exactly how I'm going to do it.
Now, you didn't plan this date when I'm going to be there, did you?
No, because I'm not waiting until October to bring those tanks down here. No, January, what? June 27th is the
Very
tentative
specific.
date. Huh?
That's very specific.
Well, yeah, what do you mean?
I don't know.
Why are you confusing me?
Usually
Yeah.
when I plan to do something, I just get up and do it. I don't like plan it out 2 weeks in advance, and I don't know.
Well, I'm the same way, but not
That's
when it
probably why
comes
you get
to,
stuff done and I don't do anything.
well, and you have to think about it. This is something I'm going to try to get like 8 to 10 to 12 people here to help with this. So it's not like I can just wake up on a Saturday morning and say, you know, I'm going to go ahead and move those tanks. Wouldn't work like that. So June 27th, it's a Saturday. That is the tentative date. Of course, the first two people that I had in mind to call them up and have them come help me, both of them are going to be out of town that day. So it's not working out so well for me, excuse me, so far. But there are more people out there. And, you know, if anybody's watching, if you live close by and you're not a weirdo, you know, maybe we can talk and maybe you can come over too and help out. But I told my nephew, who's a strapping young man, I said, look, call your friends, tell them I'll pay each one of them $50. Come over here, help us. It'll take probably 3 hours to do it all. And he's like, oh man, I'll get you as many people as you need. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't need 75 people showing up. I ain't got that many $50 bills, but that's the plan. I'm actually going to make a minimum of like 3 different videos that I have planned about this whole process. One of them is basically going to be the plan for how we're going to do it. And then the next one will be actually doing it. And then I've got a pretty good plan of a really nice stand that I want to build for that 360. Because I don't know if you're aware of this, Bob, that stand will not fit through that door right there. So the stand that I have is a metal stand. It's going to stay in the garage. I'm going to have to fabricate a wooden stand here in place. And I want to do a nice one. I want to wrap it with a really nice cabinet, make it look really nice. So that'll be a video all to itself. And the tank is going to go right there in case anyone is wondering. The treadmill that obviously doesn't get much use is going to move, and the tank is going to go right there. So the other 3 I'm not worried about. Those are going to be fine. We're actually getting suction cups. We are renting suction cups from Custom Aquariums. I'm going to get 12 of them. And so I don't think we're going to have a huge problem getting them down here.
Why don't you just get 4 guys and put each guy on a corner?
Of a 750-pound tank?
Yeah? That's less than 200 pounds a person. What's the problem?
Carrying it down a flight of stairs, concrete stairs
Well, you
going
don't
through.
carry it. You slide it down the stairs. You get some cardboard. You set it on the cardboard, and you let her fly.
I'm going to go a little farther than that. I'm actually going to build like a ramp out of 2x4s and a piece of plywood. I'm going to sand the plywood and everything else. I mean, I am going to have a ramp there. And I've even thought about getting a tow strap and tying it to my truck and basically backing it down, letting it slide and let my truck be the thing that lowers it down. I don't know. I mean, I don't think.
I think you're overthinking it, man. I'll just come over there. I'll put that thing on my back. I'll walk it down there, set it on the stand. We'll be done.
What time are you going to be over?
As soon as you buy my plane ticket.
The way I look at it is I would rather have 10 people all the way around that tank carrying it down those steps and have each person handling 70 pounds worth of weight. I would rather have that than put all of that onto 4 people. My fear is not breaking the tank, although I don't want to break the tank. My fear is somebody getting hurt. That's the kind of thing that somebody could die in concrete stairs going down. I know I'm overly paranoid, but that's just the way I am. I've been involved in scenarios where big tanks get dropped and break into a million pieces.
And that video will go viral if you get it on video.
Not if it ends up cutting somebody's leg off or slicing their carotid artery. I mean,
can you imagine the blood squirting everywhere? The thumbnail? I mean, that just writes itself.
I mean, yeah, I would never have to work again a day of my life, especially if it was me that actually drew the blood. But no, you know what? I'd rather have more than enough. And I can't even explain it. The door, you see it, it's a double door. How do I even get out of the way? It's a double door, but only one side opens, which would be this side. So the tank has to be turned up on its back, slid down the stairs, and then somehow get a 750-pound glass box through that opening. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to happen, but hopefully enough people on each end, several people in the middle. We'll see. But all the others, I think we're going to have no problems with, but that one I am definitely worried about. But, you know, you get enough people here together, all you got to do is throw a little bit of money out there. People will show up, and I think we'll be all right. You're more than welcome to come, Bob.
You know what the word of the day is? Acrylic. Acrylic.
Acrylic is just as heavy as glass when you're talking about a 400-gallon tank. Don't tell me it's not.
No way. Okay, so I had the 210-gallon Aquarium with the dual overflows, and 2 of us moved it, and that thing was insanely heavy and way heavier than my 240-gallon acrylic tank. The 240-gallon acrylic tank I moved by myself.
How long did it take to break?
It's not, I mean...
Because it was made of acrylic that thick.
It's up and running right now.
All I know is when I watch Tanked, and those guys have big tanks like mine, they've got an army of people moving those, or they've got them on those carts, you know. I mean, I will say my 300-gallon acrylic tank is 1-inch acrylic, and it is heavy, but it's definitely not as heavy as glass, because 2 of us can still move. 2 of us, me and my dad, moved the 300-gallon acrylic with 1-inch acrylic just fine. Is your dad a big guy like you are? Does he look like The Rock like you do? Well, maybe you should come over. Like I said, $50 is yours if you come here and help out.
I'd do it for free if you bought the plane ticket.
Oh, of course you would. You know what? I don't think we have enough time to plan that. And I'm not waiting until October until you are going to be here. But you know what? Hopefully you come here in October. That tank's sitting there and it's beautiful and everything's great. We're actually something that I think you'll get a kick out of, Bob. We're going to go. I'm going to go. I might even go tomorrow. I'm going to buy 2 of the 150-gallon tubs, Rubbermaid tubs from Tractor Supply. Got a Tractor Supply right down the road. And I'm going to use those as temporary holding tanks for the tanks or for the fish that are in my 2 big tanks.
And
Which
then
means,
you use them for pond season next year.
and the end of the season this year. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. If you're doing it in 2 weeks, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have half of the season left. So Lisa was talking about wanting to do that anyway. And in fact, I think she was watching the videos you did with Danny about that. Um, so yeah, she was already wanting to do that. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'll get 2 of them and you can have all kinds of fun after we're done with that. So obviously the cichlids and the arowana are going to go in one, and all of my Africans are going to go in the other, which 150 gallons it's overkill. Yeah. But I've been wanting one of those or 2 of those for a while to do a tub outside. So it's perfect. They're like
I put
$115.
I put fish outside today in one of my tubs.
Nice.
Finally.
Yeah, it was pouring down rain here, so we wouldn't have been able to do that here. But yeah, excited about that. Terrified at the same time, but excited about it. Let me go through a couple of these real quick. Cynthia Baker with the $5. Tell me about Geophagus. How do you say it? Tapajos? How do you say it, Bob?
I say it Tapaho. I know it's wrong, but it makes me smile, so I say Tapaho.
We have a 55-gallon and are thinking about getting 2 or 3. Any advice in particular that you would have to offer? I love that fish, but that's a fish that I have not kept. That's the redheads, right?
Yep.
I have not kept those. I have kept Geophagus, and I adore Geophagus. I don't know what it is. The way they're shaped, they're cute. They're cute to me. I don't know if you have advice that you could give on those.
They do well in groups. That's my advice. Get them in groups. So you said you're getting 3. That's like the bare minimum. I usually like Geophagus in groups of 6 or more.
How dare you talk like that on my live stream? Don't use that
I
kind of
know.
language.
What is it, Geophagus or Geophagus?
I've always said Fagus, but that's just because I don't like being disrespectful. But you know what you're reminding me of? You don't watch Rogan anymore, do you? You're a weirdo.
I haven't for a while, no.
You ever heard of Ronnie Coleman? Do you know who Ronnie Coleman is?
No.
Ronnie Coleman was and he's still alive. He was just on Rogan the other day, but he was a
That guy?
7-time Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
And he was on Rogan the other day. And you remind me of him because Joe would be like, so let me ask you, I'm not trying to do a Joe impersonation here. I don't even know how to do that. But when you were back there, you were winning Mr. Olympias, were you, what kind of steroids and all of those kind of things were you doing? Were you into all that kind of stuff? And, did you take all of those things? And instead of Ronnie Coleman doing what most guests on shows do, yeah, back in the day, we used to do this. And all, his answers would be like, yeah. and you could see it's great. I mean, I watched it because I used to be into that. I was never a bodybuilder, but I used to be into that, especially in the Ronnie Coleman days. So somebody that I've always admired. And he was a police officer while also the reigning Mr. Olympia. Can you imagine getting pulled over by a guy like that with 24-inch arms? And he's like, you ran that stop sign. Anyway, I've always been a fan of that guy. So I couldn't wait to see it. And I was like, man, he is just brutalizing Joe because he's just like all these one-word answers. But I kind of feel bad for him because all those years of abuse he put his body through.
Why use many words when few will do the job?
And I mean, what are you going to say to Ronnie Coleman? What are you going to push him around or something? No, that's not going to happen. I mean, at his peak, he's like 6'5", and I think he was like almost 300 pounds on stage, which is just outrageous. Anyway, Whip's World, I like to call him Zach Wild. I started in junior high school when we went on summer break and they were looking for volunteers to care for the animals in the science room. Hey, how about that? That's very, very cool. We never had any fish tanks in our school. I don't know if we were deprived of that. I'm not sure why that is, but yeah, that's cool. I love hearing stories of people that get their children or they get involved as kids because their teachers got them involved. I think that's awesome. And Bob, you have facilitated that, I know, so that is awesome.
Yeah, this whole scenario's kind of shot that whole project down.
Yeah. You'll be back though. You'll be back full steam. Melissa Jeswald with the $5 to celebrate the 12 Endlers live bears I bought this week. Nice. Did she buy them from you? You don't have any for sale right now. Your website's not even selling fish right now, but so that was a really dumb question, and I'm sorry for asking that. But congratulations, Melissa. That's awesome. Master photographer with the $5, setting up a 75-gallon planted. Want to keep Philippine angels, a pistogramma fire red, hillstream loaches, a mono shrimp, blue delta guppies. Thoughts?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I'm not sure I see any real problems there. You know the Epistos better than I do, but angels and guppies, I don't know, but
So
sure.
angels will eat guppies. They'll eat a mono shrimp. So it's just a matter of finding enough plant cover or hiding places. Um, Angels probably are not going to eat an adult guppy, but obviously if they spawn, the fry will be food.
I've got angels that are not adults yet. They're still relatively small. They're growing so slow. And we've got some micro Danios in there, and they're not eating them. But the rule is when you have a cichlid in the tank, if it can fit in the cichlid's mouth, it's going in. That's just period. But the thing is, an angel in a guppy tank or a shrimp tank could handle population control if that's something that anybody worries about. You don't have to worry about them breeding because those babies will get picked off. I know that sounds mean, but I wouldn't do that on purpose if it were me, but that's kind of what happens in nature. So, you can't feel too bad about it. But yeah, the angels, um, that's the only thing I would worry about with the babies. Like you said, full grown guppies, full grown Amano shrimp, not going to be a problem, but you never know with angels. Mattman B, I have 6 baby ember tetras and a beta in a 10-gallon. I want to add some autos. Would they be okay with what I have as far as fish and tank size? If so, how many would you recommend? With baby ember tetras and a beta, of course. Yeah. I would say get like 3 of them in there. But Bob, please argue with me. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, so autocinchlists, they're kind of a tricky fish to feed. So I agree with you. I probably wouldn't get more than 3. And then really, it's kind of hit or miss with your betta on if it's going to be angry towards them or not. So I mean, the autos are insanely peaceful fish, and bettas they can be. I mean, if they're in there with Ember Tetra fry, that's no guarantee that he could be okay with the fry, but he could still be angry at the auto. So theoretically, it should be just fine though.
Betas are so weird because we've got a lot of them, like I said. And if there's, I don't know how many we've got. If there's 30 betas in this house, 25 of them are females. But it's like you'll have 5 betas and they're all fine with tank mates as long as they're not other betas, the males. But then like my king beta, I can't put anything with that fish. Nothing. They're just instantaneous. So they are kind of strange with that. But yeah, if it's already getting along with the embers, then you ought to be good. You never have to worry about the autos hurting other fish. I would just worry. Just make sure you get the autos a good enough size to where there's not going to be any real threat from the betas. And 6 embers, which are very, very small. They're always going to be very, very small in a beta. I wouldn't put more than 3 in there. You shouldn't be overstocked. That would be my opinion there. Henry Chavez with the $50 in pesos. I think that's what it is. Got a 100-gallon tank with an Oscar baby. For tank mates, I'm thinking 2 red spotted Severums and a green terror. Is that okay or too much bioload? That would be 4 fish in a 100-gallon tank, and I would say thumbs up to that. I think it would be perfectly fine. The Severums are not going to get massive. The green terror is going to get a good size, probably close to the Oscar. But, you'll have 2 large fish, 2 medium fish in there. I think you'll be fine. Bob, you're not a big cichlid guy, but what do you think?
So yeah, those fish are out of my wheelhouse. But as far as bioload, there's really no such thing as too much bioload. It just depends on how many and how often you want to do water changes. So
I
you can
mean,
stock that thing full as long as you're doing water changes every day, really.
well, and let's face it, an Oscar is a massive bioload all by itself. So, and that, you know what? Why don't you keep large fish? What's the deal there?
So one of my favorite fish is the Haitiensis cichlid, which is, I mean, those things get like 14 inches, 16 inches, I think. And they're very angry, but you need like a few hundred gallons. It can be the only fish in the tank because it'll kill anything else. And to me, like, I'd rather have a 200-gallon with like just a huge, just mess of biodiversity versus like 300-gallon tank with one fish in it.
I I go in
For
waves.
me, like, I don't mean I'm going to interrupt you, but for me, like, one of the fun things about the hobby and like community tanks is that I feel like in my 125-gallon community tanks, I can go to that tank like every day and always see something different. Maybe I haven't seen this fish in a month. Maybe I haven't seen these plecos or shrimp in a while. Whereas like if I'm going to like a Haitiensis tank, it's different. I get it. They'll interact with you, things like that, but it's just the same thing every day. You can't do plants. They get angry at decorations. And I think knowing me, I would get bored of it really quick and it would get rehomed really fast. And I tried to lessen that.
So what about, I'm gonna open up a can of worms here. What about a fish that is a larger fish, but you typically like to keep them in groups, like let's say Malawi cichlids or maybe Tanganyikans? What do you think about that?
Well, you're like, yes, there are large Malawis, or like I think the biggest cichlid in the world comes from Lake Tanganyika,
That's true.
um, the emperor cichlid, or I think something like that.
It is the emperor, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it depends. Are you talking like just like a peacock that's like 6 inches, or like are you talking about the extreme?
Well, I'm trying to get you to talk about what we talked about the other day. That's what I'm trying to do. But no, I mean, when you think of African cichlids, 5 years ago, you would 100% go to peacocks, haps, and bunas. But now, Tanganyikans are so much more popular with uh, the shell dwellers and stuff are hugely popular, but frontosas and tropheus and things like that, which are the same as far as size goes to the Malawi fish, but um, just a tank like mine, let's say the 240, that's full of peacocks and haps. How about that? Something like that, because it's not just one fish or one or two. I've got like 18 fish in there. Is
It's
that
true. And I've had that tank in a 125. If you go back like 4 or 5 years on my channel, you'll see I have a mixed African 125. And there's like fry, I had the Synodontis catfish darting in and out of everything. It was always super active. It was planted. And people always like, oh, you can't do plants with African cichlids. Well, that's bogus. Um, so yeah, there's still a lot of things you can do with that. Whereas like you see these the big cichlid guys, and they have like a 300-gallon tank, a
with one
clay pot
fish?
turned on its side, and that's it.
Right. I mean, I go in waves. I mean, I've got a 360 gallon that has 7 fish in it that are all still, I mean, they're big by your standards, but they're not huge yet. They will be. Um, I go in waves. I mean, we've got a mix of everything here. We have that African tank that we were just talking about, and we have the 125-gallon tank that's got it's got a beta sorority in there. It's got some Danios. Your Harlequins are in there. And just like you said, I'll walk up to that tank and I'll be like, I didn't know that pleco was in there. And then a couple days later, you come back and there's like 5 Amano shrimp. And it's like, where did those come from? Lisa put them in there 3 months ago and they disappeared, like, because they're just hiding behind all the plants. But then one day they're all out and they're just frolicking around. I agree, that is a lot of fun. But I go in waves. I mean, sometimes I'm only interested in the big fish in the big tanks. And But then there's other times where I'm like, I don't know. That's just like you said. That's kind of boring. I want some more excitement in there, but I don't know. That's why I'm trying to keep a mix of everything going on all at one time. But
Yeah, like in a perfect world, if I won the lotto and I had, unlimited tanks with unlimited space, yes, I would have a 300-gallon with Haitiensis cichlid in it. But it's just very low on the priority list.
do you need to win the lottery to buy that fish in a 300-gallon tank? You already have
I
the
would
tank.
need I would need the lottery because I would need to buy about 500 other tanks with 10,000 other fish before I made it that far down my list of fish that I want to keep.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I get
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that makes sense.
But
But
like I
yeah,
saw a fish that I haven't seen in over a year the other day, a bumblebee catfish, South American bumblebee catfish. I didn't even know I just assumed it was dead because I haven't seen it in so long. And it was just chilling right on top of the substrate, and I haven't seen it since, and that was like a month ago.
that's hilarious and adorable too. Fish Tank Barn comes through with the $5 Fish Tank Move Engineering Fund. I do projects like Bob just can't carry it. I do projects like Bob just can carry it on down. Yeah, you're a strong guy, Mike. You ain't carrying that tank alone. Ronnie Coleman wouldn't carry that tank down those stairs by himself. What's that? What's the new reigning Mr. Olympia? What's that guy's name? Used to be a basketball player. I don't remember his name. Anyway,
Arnold
Fishroom Fever.
Schwarzenegger.
No, the guy. That's going to drive me crazy. I'm not going to sit here and waste time thinking about it. But the reigning Mr. Olympia is like a 7-time winner, and I watch the Mr. Olympia every year like a weirdo. But his name escapes me right now. Fishroom Fever came through with the poop emoji, and Abraham Lincoln is with us tonight. Very exciting. Can I mix blood parrots with ACI imbunas? I've seen it done. I've seen it done successfully. I would tell you not to do it though. Only because if you want to do the absolute right thing and follow all the rules and, go by what the book says, they will want different water parameters. Now, those fish have adapted to tap water because they were most likely bred in tap water. You're not talking about wild caught fish, I'm assuming, obviously, when you're talking about blood parrots. So most likely they would be fine, but just put them in 2 different tanks. That's a great excuse to get 2 different fish. But as a matter of fact, my nephew did that. And then he got out of the hobby. He's actually getting married on Saturday. I don't know why that matters, but he gave me his fish when he got out of the hobby, and I separated them. I put the imbunas somewhere else, and I put the blood parrots with my Oscars and with the one Oscar, and I had that fish for like 8 years. But anyway, deep fried apple pie in my eye, the $2 fuzzy pickle. I don't know what that's all about. The fuzzy pickle. Do you know anything about that, Bob?
No. I don't want to know about it either.
Yes. Sounds like something I probably don't want to know about either, but thank you for that. That's very cool of you. HEPA Aquatics, gents, if you were to have a perfect community display tank, say 200 gallons, what would you put in it? I'm going to let you have that one first, Bob.
I already have it. I have my 240-gallon for now. And I got my Mabu puffer. That's bucket list fish. I got 10 different species of rainbows in there. I got plecos in there. There's tetras. There's barbs. And the only thing that doesn't do well for me is plants. But honestly, I don't try very hard to make them grow. So it's kind of my fault.
You know what's weird? When I first was introduced to you, I'm pretty sure by Corey, I thought you were like a plant guru guy. Like I thought you were.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. But that tank, it's just kind of low on the priority. I've won like horticulturist of the year with the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society. I've got all kinds of awards. But yeah, I've scaled back and I stick to the Java ferns, the Anubias, the Crips, the stuff
that you can't
back
kill.
then when I only had like 10 tanks. Oh yeah, I had CO2 going. I had, just plants that you've never even heard of before. Like the the first to get some Anubias plants, brand new Anubias pangolonia or something like that. I don't remember how to pronounce it, but like, yeah, I was like big, and I mean, I spent like $100 on a piece of a Anubias rhizome that had 4 leaves on it. So, like back
Wow.
in the day when I had 10 tanks, no problem. Now I have 50. I stick to the stuff that grows slow and is easy.
You know, talking about the perfect community tank, we have a tank that I'm looking at right now that has way too many fish in it. At the moment, Lisa's 90-gallon. It's got probably a dozen Danios in it, a dozen Harlequins, 4 angels, and some. I think there's a couple plecos in there. Uh, I would love a tank. Like, I was inspired by Jay Wilson. It was probably like a year ago. He had like a 200 something gallon tank, and he put 500 neon tetras in there. Did you see that?
Yep.
And then
And I saw them all get eaten.
yeah, by the geophagus. But I thought that was awesome. And there was that tank. I don't, were you, you've never been to an
I
aqua
wasn't
show.
there, but of course I've seen it. It's gone viral on many channels.
The round tank, is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Oh
And they
yeah.
were just going around and around and around and around. I loved that too. Um, but I think if I was going to do that, it would be either rummy nose or Harlequins. I would have in a 200 gallon tank, I'd have like 70 of them and just go nuts. That's what I would do. Heavily planted, and Lisa would take care of them for me. And so there would be some other little things around the bottom, some life down at the bottom. But I would just love to see a large number of one particular kind of fish. I really do like the mixture like we have in that tank and like we have upstairs. And I like the combination of a bunch of different fish and watching them all hanging out together. But there's something about a huge school of the same fish like rummy nose. Rummy nose are one of my favorite fish. I'd never keep that a secret. I love those. Um, just a massive swarm of 60 rummy nose going back and forth in a 200 gallon. Can you even imagine that? That would be gorgeous. So there is my perfect community display tank. And there's one from Marty Borst that I can't see. I don't know. Where do you read your chat from, Bob, when you're streaming?
Do you use the new YouTube live studio or the classic?
I use the new one. Yeah.
I use the classic and I can see everything.
Okay.
I cannot stand the new one because of stuff like this. But he said it's $5 super chat. Marty Brost, is it possible? Wait, are there possible tank mates for adult discus? I don't know why I had a problem with that, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure third graders can read that. Absolutely. There's tons of tank mates for discus. The issue that you would run into is not an issue with the discus. It would be more the other fish harming the discus. I mean, that would be the thing that you would fear the most. But pretty much all community fish across the board are going to be fine with discus. There are the popular ones. Everybody loves the cardinal tetras mixed in with the discus. That's kind of
German
like
rams.
German rams. Yep. Both of those are just kind of like a go-to automatic. A lot of people love those. Here I go again, but I love the combo of rummy nose with discus. And we've got a batch of, I think we've got 20 rummy nose right now that have been in quarantine for like a year. And they're going to go in with the discus when we get them moved down here. But we had that combo before, and it was just wonderful watching 20 rummy nose. They're always together, and they're always going back and forth. And the discus are all just lazy, sitting around doing their own thing. That was beautiful. And I don't know if you even heard that story about what happened with those, Bob. Lisa did a water change, and out of nowhere, every single one of those rummy nose died. Not a thing happened to the discus, but all of the rummy nose died in one.
That's why I don't keep rummy nose. That's my experience with every time I've tried rummy nose. Something happens. It's either they trickle off one at a time every couple days, or it's just they all die at once. I've never been able to keep rummy nose longer than 6 months ever.
We've never had a problem with them. I mean, that was just the one time, and that was so weird. I've had fluke things happen and it wipes out a tank before. I mean, eventually, if you're keeping fish, you're going to have that happen too. But I've never seen it where one fish is entirely wiped out and all of the others are perfectly fine. Like the discus, we're like looking around like, what's going on? I mean, ain't nothing wrong with us. We're fine. What's the deal? You know? And the rummy nose, every single one of them was stuck to the intake of the filter. It was horrifying. But anyway, we talked about that in a live stream quite some time ago. Abraham Lincoln came through again. How many Geo redheads, I'm just going to call them that, could you get away with in a 55? They don't get all that big, do they? What are they, like 7 inches?
So I'm torn with the 55. If it was like a 75, I would say get 8 or 10. But a 55, when they're full grown and you have rocks and wood and decorations in there, that's going to start becoming an issue of them being able to turn around. Yeah, they'll be able to. But if you did like more than 3, you're going to have just a mess in there, I feel like. But that's just my opinion.
What do they get, like 7 or 8 inches max, or
Yeah,
they get bigger than that?
They get pretty good size, and they're a bigger bodied fish too.
Right. Well, and a 55 gallon is only, what's it, like 14 inches
12,
or
12 inches front
12?
to back.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Then yeah, that's when you factor in there all of the garbage that you're going to have in the tank, decorating it and stuff like that. Yeah, it would be a little tight. So yeah, let's not put them in the 55. Let's get them something bigger. You could put a few.
Like I mean, any Geo, like you're gonna get way more enjoyment out of a Geo in a 75. Now, if you already have a 55, get your 3. I think you said you had 3 earlier. That might have been someone else, but I would just stick with 3.
Cody Green, hey guys, please give me the lowdown on Synodontis. I'm wanting Petco's. Whoa, it's getting late. I'm wanting Petros or Lucip dwarf. I have a 75. Can I mix tetras with them? How many cats? I am not a Synodontis expert, even though they come from the African lake, which I'm supposed to be the guy for African cichlids, but they're not cichlids. But I know you have them, Bob. So why don't you talk about them?
I've got tons of Synodontis. I've got Lucipennis. I've got Pleurops. I've got Synodontis burchardi, which are my favorite. And I'm pretty sure I have one more species that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. But absolutely, they will go with tetras. They're, in my opinion, they are perfectly community safe. If you feed them, they won't go after other fish. That even if they fit in their mouth, they might pick one off here and there. But they're just a great fish. They're super active, super fun to watch. One of my all-time favorite. Can't go wrong.
I love them too. We had them. We have had them, but I've never kept them. We had them in the shop, and I am a fan of them. And one thing I can say is I've always known them, not from experience, but just from others, to be the fish that can get along with everything. And
Yep.
whether that be African cichlids, because that's where they come from, or community fish, cichlids, tetra tanks, or angel tanks, whatever it is you want to put them in there, they're like plecos. They go with everything.
And one of my dream tanks is a massive school of dwarf petricolas, and I'm talking like 100. Because somewhere there's some random video on YouTube of someone breeding them, and there's seriously like just 100, at least 100 fry in this tank, and they just swarm all over, and it looks so awesome.
Isn't it weird that you can run into random YouTube channels that you've never seen before that have something amazing? Like there's one, I can remember watching it back in like 2010. There's a guy, and he converted his entire basement into a tank. It's something like 50 something thousand gallons. I don't know if you've seen it. I watched this video probably 100 times before way before I even started a channel. But like his basement, there's like a staircase that goes down, and it's just a wall of glass, and it's like a horseshoe shape. He's got arapimas. He's got giant stingrays. It's just unbelievable. I'll have to dig it up. I don't even know how to find it anymore, but there's a few videos either from this guy or they're from somebody who knows him that was like, hey, let me put that on YouTube. I think they even showed like the construction process of it and stuff like that. His entire basement is an aquarium. It's pretty daggone cool. And it's like, how does that guy not have 1 million subscribers with a tank like that, you know? But anyway, I see my name highlighted here, so I want to say it's from John Bosworth. I have a convict and yellow lab cichlid fry. I have convict and yellow lab cichlid fry. What food do you recommend? Flake or live baby brine shrimp? I am already hatching BBS daily. Baby brine shrimp is not a bad food for any fish on earth. That's been my experience, but they are a pain in the butt to grow. I used to do that too when I was breeding, and I said, to hell with this. It's too much. I was doing it in, 1 liter soda bottles and stuff like that. And it just got to be too much, especially with
cichlids. I mean, they're generally big enough to just accept flake food anyways.
Right. And that's what I learned. I was like, I'm going to do this perfect and I'm going to hatch brine shrimp. And in the beginning, hatching brine shrimp, oh, they're sea monkeys. This is fun. It was cute. And you put them in the syringe. But after a while, it was like, no, this is too much. Crumble up some flake food, throw it in there. You're good to go. That's exactly what I would do. Convict fry are micro fry. They are tiny. But if you grind that flake up enough in your fingers and drop it down in there, they'll get it. And the yellow lab fry, yeah, they come out
plenty big enough for flake food,
ready to eat fry food. Or flake food. So that's not a problem. I see an orange oval, which means, yeah, I better get on that. And it's from my guy, Jose Fernandez. 2 of my favorite YouTubers, awesome Miss Conroy, not the same without her. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You can see nobody, compared to the normal numbers, please don't anybody take offense. Compared to the normal numbers, we've got several hundred fewer viewers than we normally do. And of course, it's because we don't have Lisa with us. I've got this guy sitting across from me. But yeah, Jose is my guy. I don't know if you know this, Bob. He's the one that got the bobbleheads of Lisa and I done. So, yep. High five. It didn't work. What's going on with my camera here? Come on now. So yeah, Jose is he's a special person to me. Still got to get that bobblehead made of you. I really want to do it. You and Corey would be the first. And then I think the third and fourth would be Zenzo and Jason, because Jason would be funny because it would look so much like mine. But yeah. Anyway, where did we just?
You just have to have a shirt that says "Holla."
But that's.
I know you're talking about the other Jason, but
yeah, I'm talking about Jason Adams. That would be funny though. Get Jason Adams with a holla shirt on. But yeah,
I just wanted to say "Holla."
That's funny. What was it? I saw he did a live stream. Was it yesterday or today? Jay Wilson did.
Yeah, he does them Wednesdays.
Okay. And he said the thumbnail was something like, I'm quitting, or are they all sold? Or I don't know. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet.
Was that a live stream or a video?
I thought it was a live stream because it was really long. It was like an hour long. I don't think Jay Wilson's editing hour-long videos at the moment. He's got a lot going on. Let's see. There are frozen brine shrimp. Yeah, that's very true. Frozen brine shrimp are great.
One of my new favorite frozen food is brine shrimp and spirulina frozen.
Okay.
Made by Hikari. Everything I have loves that stuff.
Frozen food I love. I mean, it's awesome. But when it comes to fry, I mean, we had some fry tanks that were, there's like 24 fry in there. And it was kind of nice because you could just, you don't follow the rules of thawing them all out and all that. You just drop in a cube in each tank and move on. And the fry all just sit there and pick at it and go crazy. That was kind of fun to watch. But again, if you're feeding 100 fry tanks frozen food, you're going to go broke very fast. There's no way you're going to recoup your investment out of that. But We actually had fry pellets. They were like 0.5 millimeter pellets that we bought in bulk from a company, and African cichlid fry could take them right away. They were really, really small pellets. And even if they couldn't fit them in their mouth entirely, they would just kind of sit there and pick at them and they'd be perfectly fine with it. We started doing that after a while, and it was way cheaper to grow the fry that way than it was to even feed them the flake food. So anyway, we're going to have to start winding things down here because we've got rack coming up here in just a few minutes. Somebody said I'm mean. What about Scott? No Scott bobblehead? Yeah, of course I would get a Scott bobblehead, but there's others that would be in line first. And it's not because I like them more than Scott. It's because they're funnier looking than Scott. I mean, look
That's
at
why
Bob.
I'm number one. I'm the funniest looking.
Bob and Corey would be number one. Zenzo is not funny looking. We all wish we could look like Zenzo, but it would be a big muscular bobblehead, which would make it funny. Jason, kind of the same thing. And it would just be funny because we're both bald-headed white guys with goatees, or his is a full glorious beard. So that would be funny because we're similar looking, although I'm sure he's insulted by that. So Scott's not funny looking. It's just a normal looking guy. So, his bobblehead would be like, who's that guy? Whereas you look at Bob and it'd be like, oh my God, that's Bob. Anyway, I'm getting myself in so much trouble. Mona's Happy Fish Fry recommendations on how to treat swim bladder. Lisa is our fish doctor, not me. So, Bob, how do you handle that?
I had it once with goldfish. It's the only time I've ever had it, and I used frozen peas and just very clean water, and it worked. The only time I've ever had it was with goldfish.
That's exactly what Lisa did. What was it? We had a fish with swim bladder recently. She'll probably put it in the chat. I don't know, but there was a fish that had that. Or no, it wasn't. It was somebody else messaged her and asked her, why did I think it was ours? Asked her because their Betta had that problem. And she that's what she recommended to them. Peel some peas, put them in there. And within a couple days, no problems. Done.
Yes, don't forget to peel them.
Yep. Okay. Thoughts on acrylic crazing? Harmless or dangerous? I don't know what that is. What I've never had
it's like the little defects you see in acrylic tanks where it looks like it's like shattering, but it's not. Like the little squiggly kind of. I don't know.
I've never had an acrylic
in all
tank.
the research I've done, harmless. It's just a defect in the acrylic, but it doesn't ruin like the integrity of it. But I could have been researching from the wrong people, so don't take my word for it. But because my 240 has it on the sides, and so I was really paranoid. But yeah, I couldn't find anything that said it ruined the integrity of the acrylic, just a defect of the acrylic.
That would be terrifying if I saw that. I mean, maybe I'm picturing it much different than what it actually is. I don't know, but
I mean, it is. Think of like a pane of glass and it just spider webs the whole thing. That's what it looks like, but like in small, like little 1-inch sections.
Oh yeah, that's scary. That's why I don't have any acrylic tanks. I think acrylic tanks are cool, but yeah, that scares me.
It's still way more durable than silicone. I mean, come on.
It was Lefty, and you're way off with what I told him. That's right, it was Lefty, but no, yeah, you're right. Lisa's right again. She didn't tell him that. She actually gave him an easier resolution, but I don't remember what it was. I think it might have been just heat and salt and clean water changes.
I think she told him to flush it.
How dare you? She would never say that. SKAK is saying good morning, which is interesting. It's got to be morning somewhere. So, is it true you're going on Rack Stream right after this? You going over there? You gonna be a guest on there, Bob? Yeah.
That's news to me if I am. You better message me and let me know.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. You're just bombing everybody's. Not bombing. What's the word?
It would bomb. I mean,
this one certainly has. But no, we've had over 300 people in here. That's good for a Lisa-less stream, you
and
know,
without a Corey lead in, right?
that,
Not
I
bad.
mean, our biggest streams are always when he leads in, and that's to be expected. Our biggest stream to date is one when he was sitting right here with me, over 900. And you know what? I don't know what your record is. Our record is like 720 or 780 by ourselves, just Lisa and I. 780. I think we had a really good topic, hybrids or something. I don't remember what it was, but uh, when Corey was here, it was like 980, and I got to admit, kind of started getting a little nervous when it starts getting that high. I was like, I'm never nervous on here. You know, I'm not pacing back and forth before the stream starts. I've done it so long, it doesn't scare me. But when you're talking about almost 1,000 people watching, that I started feeling it a little bit. And I've happened upon some streams before, and I see people, not fish channels, but other channels that have like 30,000 people watching. I'm like, wow.
When you can fill a stadium, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely be nervous. I remember Philip DeFranco one time. This was when streaming was still new. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of people doing it. I was subscribed to him, and I'm not subscribed anymore because some of the stuff he talks about, it's not his fault. It just makes me so mad I can't watch. Uh, I got a notification on my phone. Philip DeFranco is now live. As soon as I got that notification, I clicked on it, and there was 57,000 people watching. And I was like, no, there's no way. I'm the most outgoing person in the world. I think I would probably cave if there was that many people watching me. That would be terrifying.
I would turn it off and just not look at the number, like minimize it.
I mean, can you even imagine trying to look at the chat? Like, I struggle when there's 300 people in here to follow along with what's going on in the chat. I can't even 50. What? That's just bananas. That's like NFL football numbers. No way could I handle that. Marty Borst came through again with adorable. Is it a kitty or is it a dog? I'm pretty sure it's a kitty, and that is for
It's a
Lisa.
fox.
It's a what?
I just said fox, but I don't think it is.
Well, you know what? It's a fox cat dog, is what it is. It kind
Man
of
bear
does.
pig.
Kind of does look like a fox with the heart, and it's adorable. And thank you so much for that. Marty Borst is somebody we've seen here recently and has just been spoiling us recently. I don't know what we've done, but we've been spoiled by that individual. So we are going to have to start winding things down because rack is coming up in 5 minutes. I'm going to allow you, Bob, if you would be so kind, as to come up with a hashtag that we will send everybody over to rack stream with. It's got to be fun, something fun.
Hashtag exotic Bob.
Bob Exotic.
I made you spit your drink.
Bob Exotic. If you're.
Oh yeah. Bob Exotic. Sorry,
Yeah.
I said it backwards.
That's good. Yep. Bob Exotic. I love it. Hashtag Bob Exotic. Master photographer. Great show, John and Bob. Thank you. Candy Overhauls at Lisa KG Tropicals. Thanking all of the mods. Yeah, you know what? That's something that I don't do enough. And shame on me for that. But you know what? The way I talk, I go on and on and on and on. And I get sidetracked in all of this. I absolutely do not thank my mods enough, particularly with what's going on in our world right now and everything else. The fact that people would volunteer their time to come and not even get thanked by me. That just blows my mind that they would do that. And they show up every single week, people like Bob Kaler and Candy Overhauls. And there's so many more. And it makes me sad that I can't think of all of them right now. I'm trying to look through all of the blue names. Lisa, KG Tropicals, thank you for moderating tonight too. But it blows my mind. And you know what? Candy Overhauls has been doing this since day one when I started live streaming, which is just, I don't know what I did to deserve that woman moderating my streams and every other fish tubers streams. It's unbelievable, but I'm definitely lucky there. And I know you are lucky in that you have the same list of moderators on your channel. So I think I'm a moderator on yours.
Very fortunate. And And like at the end of my streams, I always go through and thank everyone and end the stream. And I'm like, I forgot the mods every time.
It's one of those things I'm going to have to start working in to every show because it really does bother me in the end because I'm like, I wouldn't show up every week if I never even got a thank you. That would really bother me. So yeah, the fact that they do that, it does mean a lot. I appreciate it very much because it's impossible to do that while also trying to talk into a microphone and look at a guy in a palm tree purple shirt with a blonde wig and
Wig? What? I am offended, sir.
whatever. Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
so
one time
yes.
I let my hair down and try to have some fun.
Yep. When you come here, that hat's coming off. I'll get it off of you. I don't care that you're a foot taller than me. And
Oh, I don't. I wouldn't care anyways.
anyway, this has been a lot of fun. So yeah, we are gonna all head over to the River Life with the hashtag Bob Exotic. That will be a whole lot of fun. Bob, thank you for coming over here last minute, bailing us out like this. Wouldn't have been able to do it without you.
I know you wouldn't have hit 300 without me. That's for sure.
Well, and I'll have to check the numbers once we're done to see
How many you lost?
how many we've lost. But no, I don't. I don't think that we're going to have many lost. This was a lot of fun, laid back, easy going. You know, have some fun. That's what tonight was all about. And you know, usually I end up saying the streams that we go into with absolutely no agenda are usually terrible. But this one was a lot of fun. So very cool.
I'm all about no agenda, man.
I watch you do that and I'm like, I could not do that. I could not do what he's doing right now. It just, I have to have a plan. I have to know what I'm doing. And sometimes you think of things on the fly. Sometimes I don't. I couldn't do it. It would drive me crazy. But anyway, this has been a lot of fun. You know what I like to do at the end of every stream, Bob? I like to turn it over to you and have you be the one to close it out so that I don't have to have that awkward thank you, goodbye moment. So I'm going to leave it to you. Go ahead and send us out.
Goodbye.
So professional.